All right, for our third card, this is the one that we're going to create. So very first step, we're going to die cut our lighthouse. I've got some matte silver cardstock that I'm doing that with. Let's get our machine right here. And once again, this die cuts the edge of the die cut as well, so I don't need to center it within the cardstock. Just as long as I don't see any blades, we're good to go. I'm just going to tuck that to the side, and I'm going to grab my Santa and Sleigh because I might as well die cut that at the same time. I've just got a scrap of black cardstock here to do that with. Typically when I'm cutting down my cardstock, I keep these thin strips, and they're perfect for things like this. There we go. Move my machine out of the way. And most of this will come right out. Typically start by using that Spellbinder's tool-in-one to take some of the little bits out. And I also like to use my die pick to get the corners. Any of these bits can be thrown at. Bigger ones you can probably save for some smaller die cuts. And then most of these will just fall right out of the die cut. So this one is somewhat similar to the circle one, as in there's a little bit more to block off and to detail watercolor a little bit, but actually a little bit more detailed because we've got the light from the lighthouse here. This one, just like the first one, we're going to, the piece that we're watercoloring is a little bit bigger than the die cut. And once again, if you would prefer that the colored part end with a die cut, you can just color your, or cut your watercolor piece a little bit smaller. And then once again, if you didn't want it to be a Christmas card, you can just leave the Santa and Sleigh off of it and put a different sentiment on it. Or just leave the sentiment for the inside of the card. Completely your choice. So this one, I'll just leave that in there. I'll take it out off screen. Just because it's not the most exciting thing to watch. All right, now once again, we're going to lay our die cut on the watercolor piece till it's centered. Take your pencil. So I'm going to mark where the top of my rocks are here, the outside of my lighthouse, and then I also want to mark where that stream of light from the lighthouse is, because I want to make sure that that is not sky colored. You could even die cut this in gold and then leave that sky colored and have the gold as in the light, but I chose to go a little bit more neutral. All right, there we go. I'm gonna cut, mark where some of these waves are, because I'm gonna try to get some blue at the bottom of the waves there. I think I have all of it. There we go. So tuck this to the side. Grab our watercolors and our piece of paper towel. And once again, we're using the same colors for the background. I just like them because it makes just a nice like sunset sky. And you could definitely alter the colors if you prefer different colors for your sunset sky. And then I'm also coloring all the way to the edges because I want to see the color outside my die cut. And then just a little bit inside the where the lighthouse is, because I want to make sure I don't have a little bit of a halo on there. I'm going to do just a tiny bit of this coral for where the water is, just as a reflection on the top of the water. But because this water is a little bit more rough than the other ones, I don't necessarily want a whole lot. Now into the tumbled glass. And I'm working fairly quick when I'm doing this background, so I'm not really worried about my watercolor drying on me. If it did dry on you, you'd want to rehydrate the part that is dry, just because you're going to get some weird watermarks if you don't. Now my broken china. I'm going to follow the line of where that light beam goes. And by follow it, I mean just slightly inside of it. I want to be able to, I don't want to have a white mark sitting on my card here. And there is quite a bit between the part that's going to be yellow and the part that's going to be blue. There we go, and then a little bit of broken china at the bottom here. There we go. Brush was getting a little bit dry. And then lastly for the sky, a little bit of the chipped sapphire. I'm going to touch the corner in it and then just kind of go along some of those little marks that I made. You're not going to see a ton of this detail because the main focus is the die cut, but I do like seeing some of it. There we go. And I want to see some more dark on that top there. There we go. Now I'm going to switch to my more detailed water brush. I've got a little bit of blue there. I want to make sure that I don't pick up. Before I grab my yellow, I'm going to do the color for the rocks, which is the Pumice Stone. And make sure that you go all the way to the edge and you don't have a white mark there, because you will see it. There we go. And now the yellow for the light beams out of the lighthouse. And that's another spot you don't want there to be white. And it's really the white part, you don't want it to be white along the edges here. I've gone inside my pencil lines enough that I don't think it's going to be white alongside my die cut. If you were ever unsure, you could take your die cut and you could lay it alongside of it just to check. There we go. Perfect. So now I'm going to let that dry completely, and I'll see you in the next video, and we will do the assembly and add the different accents to it.